when you guys were riding for Honda, and obviously they've given you a credit card and contingency money was enough that you could live on it. How did that Honda contingency program compare to anything else that was offered to you? Or was, like Derek said, we don't want to make any assumptions here. Were you offered anything from any other color that would have even come remotely close to what Honda was putting in front of you?
So at the time we were riding for Yamaha, right? And so Mike Guerra was our manager. And so I'm always going to try to do it right, right? And so when we got the offer from Honda, I went to Yamaha, Mike Guerra, and said, hey, this is the offer we have. What do you think? And I remember him saying after he looked at it, he goes, if I were to match this, this would be our entire amateur Yamaha budget to match this. So yeah, that ain't going to happen. And I was like, no problem. I get it. I just wanted to be straightforward and be transparent. And I know we have a good relationship, and I know that we gel good with the bike, right? And in that time period, right, I knew there was a little bit of going out on a limb to ride a CR80, right, 85, because there were no Hondas at the track. Everybody was on Kawasaki's. They were all on Yamahas. No few Suzukis. Nobody rode a Honda, right? And so I knew that we were going out on a limb and we would have to develop the bike, but I knew that the program that we had set up for us would be what was needed to get us to the front, right? And to be ready to race pro racing at 16 years old. And so I picked it, we picked it. And we did it as a group, right? So at the time it was myself. The mom had already left the program. So it was myself, Mike, Jeff, and Mike's girlfriend, Danielle, who was just a teenager at the time, right? It was us four. And yeah, that was it. We picked it, and we had one focus and one gear, right? And that was to get there.
So on that front of like one focus, one gear, and I think that was very evident watching from the outside, is like there's a focus to win races, and you're willing to do whatever you thought was necessary to get there, meaning from what I've understood, you keep very copious notes at every track you go to about starting positions, track, bike setup, things like that. Is there any insight like you could offer parents to maybe who are a little looser in the program? I deal with this. Me and Coach have already been on I've been so frustrated with this on this podcast about parents being a little bit too loose with their program. And maybe even kids can kind of, maybe the kids who are 14, 15 can pick up some of your, I would call them secrets, really, if you're willing to share any of that kind of your process.
So not only did we keep notes at the track, right, but we made what we were doing public, right? And so we had a newsletter that would go out called Alessi Weekly. And we had, I think, somewhere around 750,000 subscribers at that time. It was social media before social media, right? And so wherever we went, we basically did photos and did a kind of a synopsis of what happened at that event. And we would publish it every week, and it would go out in the emails to all these people, right? And so we didn't make what we were doing a secret. It was out there for everybody to see. In terms of keeping notes and documenting what we did, we did have a journal that we kept. Most important to me were the races that we had to go to that were going to be on national tracks that we would have to race in the future, i.e. Southwick, Millville, Redbud. And so whenever those opportunities were possible to go to, then we would go to those venues, and I would spend an enormous amount of time there, right? We would go to, Southwick or Redbud or even Millville. We would go there the week preceding the event. We would stay there, check out everything, know where every detail, where the bathrooms were, where we're sign up, what the track looked like, how often did it rain, what happened when it rained there. We would ride the amateur day. Then we would stay there and watch the pros. And then the day after the pros, typically I had an arrangement with the track owner to ride the track untouched, right? The day after the pros were on it. This way I can get some kind of an indicator of where our level was at that time, right? Because we just watched him ride, right? And 12 hours later, we're on the track, and riding the same track with the same bumps and the same ruts. And so it really helped us navigate where, when, and how to go pro.